Opportunities for doing business with India. Why is it so important for German companies, particularly in the moment, to do business with India? What are the opportunities? What are the cultural differences? What are possible threats? And what are legal watch out? This is what I'm going to talk about today with two experts in German-India business, Thomas Sasse, partner and lawyer in the German law firm Oikon, and Kirat Singh Nagra, partner and lawyer at the Indian law firm DSK Legal. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas, you're specialized in international trade and corporate transactions for companies, investors, and shareholders. You have over 2 decades of executive management experience working with global banks and telecom companies in Tokyo, in Singapore, in New York, London, Barcelona, and most important, in Mumbai. You were involved in the implementation of the UN Convention in Asia, and particularly in India. And Kirat, you are a partner and lawyer of the Delhi's office of DSK Legal. You are a litigation lawyer with a specialization in commercial corporate disputes, regulatory litigation issues pertaining to India, and also international arbitration and white-collar crimes. Very open question to both of you as experts. Why should a German company invest or do business with India in the moment?
Well, India has grown very fast. It's a huge market with 1.4 billion people, probably the highest population in the world compared to China, for example. And of course, India as a country has always was competitive with China and has grown very quickly, as I said. So with the recent developments, global developments through the pandemic, supply chain issues with various Asian countries, including China, India has become even more relevant than it has been before for German importers, but also for German companies who are selling their products or want to make their products outside the country. And with the political will of the Indian government under the motto of Make in India, it has welcomed with various measures, including tax measures, and an easier way of foreign direct investments into the country. Also, German companies to invest and set up factories or have joint venture with companies in India to make their products over there and to distribute the products into the country for Indian customers. So that's why it has become more relevant and more important for German companies to do business with India.
And is there an Indian view as well, Kirat?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Thomas, for that. I think India is viewed largely and globally as a manufacturing hub and an alternative to China, especially in this highly tenuous geopolitical, economic environment.
Right.
India has the largest consumer market. It has a growing economy. It has a diverse industry base. It has a skilled workforce. The government policies are conducive for investment, and the manner in which foreign investment in India has gone through a sea change in the last 7 years, where the government has pushed foreign investment into India. It is ripe for investment. The government is dynamic. Their policies are dynamic. It is, the red tapeism that India was earlier famous for has greatly reduced. There are single window clearances for foreign investment into India. So I think the environment is right. And, we have a ecosystem in India for startups, which is enviable worldwide. So we have brilliant startups coming out and emerging from India, which are going to take global center stage in the next maybe next 2 years. We're going to see India as one of the biggest players from a fintech perspective and from the startup.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. And what is the legal framework and business structure in India? What do Germans have to consider?
Well, first of all, I think it's a political will, and the legal framework follows. So typically, the legal framework displays the social environment of a country and the cultural environment of the country. And of course, India, leaning towards the English law, and Germany basically not knowing English law also in international trade. You have mentioned the UN Charter for International Trade of Goods, which Germany is a party of, and 92 other countries worldwide as well, is important. The legal framework is starting with trading, and it's always a question between two trading partners, which law shall we apply? And one side says, well, of course, German law, and the other side says Indian law. And so the trading contract already is a question. How do we get the contract done, first of all? And it follows through, and our answer, for example, would be the Convention of International Sale of Goods, the UN convention that I mentioned, and others say English law or Indian law. That is for a lawyer an important part to be involved in when it comes to negotiation. And later on, we talk about litigation or settlement or of a resolution of disputes, and it starts at the contract level. Then the framework, as Kirat said, is open for investments, has become wide open for investments. The Modi government and the German government and European government basically is, as we speak, again negotiating about a free trade agreement between India and Europe, which should help, of course, also the push forward for further harmonization of laws between India and Europe. And in India itself, we find a very business-friendly framework for companies to deal. When I was in India, the speed of the development and the speed of growth is incomparable with what we know from in the saturated German market.
Okay.
So it's much faster, much faster, and German companies need to catch up or need to be at the same level. And India framework allows that for incorporation of companies, for joint ventures as well. So there are different routes, so-called automatic routes to invest into India, which is open for most of the industries. Exceptions are industries which deal with certain products that involve a higher level of secrecy, where government approval is required. But otherwise, it's also possible to hold 100% stake in an Indian company. So a foreign company can set up their own company, or of course hold a majority of an Indian company.
Okay, thank you.
So India has today globally recognized corporate structures, and you can pretty much open any type of structure which is open anywhere in the world, such as a limited liability company, a private and corporate company, investing in a limited company, opening a partnership, or opening a one-person sole proprietorship. I think what we are looking at, India has opened its doors by way of automatic foreign direct investment. There are certain industries in which without prior government approval, foreign entities can invest directly into India. They are in the agriculture and animal husbandry, transport services. You have your asset reconstruction companies. You have your biotechnology greenfield companies, broadcast content services. All these are industries where 100% foreign direct investment can come via the automatic route. The other route is through single point of entry, seeking prior governmental approval. And those are entities which are like Thomas said, restricted areas where government needs to apply its mind whether it wants to. What are the geopolitical sensitivities involved in permitting parties to invest in India? Also, we've had a little bit of a change in respect of investment coming in from entities where the ultimate beneficial owner is somebody who's based in a country with which India shares a common border. So there are certain restrictions that if an ultimate beneficiary, even if it's a German entity, but the ultimate beneficiary is from a country or has an origin from a country where they share a land border with India, it will not fall within the automatic route, and they will have to seek prior governmental approval. But obviously, there are corporate structures which can be put in place as strategic investments, where these and the manner in modalities that the government has set in place, which are single window entry and for permissions, etc. It's created, it's fast tracked all these applications. So it's made the priorly very tenuous process much easier and much more efficient.
Okay, interesting. A lot to consider, but even better, you work together for many, many years. So you both together really know exactly what a German company has to look out for when entering the Indian market. And even more important when maybe not everything works according as planned. So how, for example, can possible legal issues be solved? How about dispute resolution in India? And what are the available options for enforcement? And how about arbitration, for example?
Yeah, thank you. DSK and Oikon work together in collaboration and have worked together for a long time. And we want to ensure that from the beginning of thinking or strategizing of a business, either into India or from India to Europe, we are partners to avoid conflict, first of all. So we should make good contracts so that such conflicts don't arise. And if conflicts arise, as it always happens in every family, so to speak, and joint venture or business partners, there might be a conflict, and this should be resolved, and it starts at the contract level. So what is the way of resolving, either in mediation or arbitration, for example? Arbitration is much preferred to litigation in India. One hears stories in Germany about litigation cases that take longer than 10 years. And so German people think, okay, there's no such thing as getting your rights in India. That's a perception which we can say, okay, it's not correct. We have ways to avoid that. And Kirat is the specialist on that. So I would hand over to him.
Thank you. So India has done much to alleviate this general impression that justice is a long, arduous process in India. We have made it far simpler for international investors that come into India to have viable exit options, and those viable exit options are through a very robust mediation process. We've also undergone a lot of change where commercial disputes are treated on a different platform. There is far quicker dispensation of justice as far as a dispute which is commercial implications. We have Arbitration Act, which has taken into account the fact that if there is an international commercial arbitration, the basic challenges to an arbitral award are more narrow. So you cannot reopen an arbitral award on any generic principle. They're very specified, and the ability to challenge a foreign arbitral award is restrictive in nature. This is to make sure that justice, even through the arbitral route, doesn't, an award which is passed in an arbitration doesn't take a long journey in the appellate courts in India. So it's basically tried to fast track dispensation of justice for all commercial disputes in India, and especially international commercial arbitrations are treated on a fast track mechanism these days.
Okay.
I think important to note is also how to enforce the title that you can get from an arbitration court or from any court when it comes to arbitration in India or even outside of India. Enforcement in India. I think that should be interesting as well. How do I actually get what I want after I won a title?
Absolutely. So enforcement is has been another tricky area in India. But like I said, if what is happening is that the court gives greater sanctity to awards passed in institutional arbitrations. So like the London Commercial International Arbitration Centers and the ICC, we have also institutional arbitral centers in India now, in every big jurisdiction within India, the north, south, east, and west, where courts look at the sanctity of awards passed by an institutional arbitral mechanism with greater trust and greater resolute. So the process of enforcement of arbitral awards has also undergone change, where it's made it much quicker and much more time bound, because there are specialist courts dealing with enforcement actions in commercial matters.
Okay, that's helpful. Okay. Well, very interesting. Of course, with this video today, you cannot go into real further depths. Therefore, if there are any questions of CEOs or owners of companies in Germany, we put your contact details also in the footnotes. And maybe interesting also, there will be further videos coming up with Thomas and Kirat about doing business with India in the coming weeks. So stay tuned. It will be very interesting, and feel free to contact either of the two anytime. Is there anything else from you, Thomas or Kirat, you would like to say? Otherwise, I say thank you very much for your time and your insights.
Yeah, we are happy that we had this opportunity. Thank you very much. And our clients are welcome to ask questions later on. But as you said, we dig deeper into the subject matter, and will come up soon again. And when it becomes really difficult, seemingly, then clients typically refer to us.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for your time.